Look number 2 with this palette, let's do this section. I'm really loving this 𝗕𝗓𝗧𝗬 primer, but I will give you a tip. Of course I will. Even though this primer is transparent, it's so important to make sure it is completely even across the lid. It's just gonna pick up that shadow better and it's gonna wear its best. Let's already grab this shade. I'm gonna grab it on an E27. And I'm just going to start to place it. I'm just really trying to keep things, I'm grabbing the same color. I'm going to try to keep it a little contained. And by the way, this is the formula that has kind of the big chunky flakes. I love this formula. All right, fun. We're started. I should have picked it up with this brush. This is another one of those big chunky, intense shimmer shades. This brush is better to pick it up. See how nicely it picks up that color. Where do we want to put this one? Let's put it here so it catches some of the light. Oh, that's so pretty. You can see that these two have a green flip to them. I'll show you when we get done here, but you can kind of see it there. I'm gonna grab this shade, and this is just kind of a really classic intense shimmer. This isn't the chunky one. And I'm going to, oh, it's so pretty. Let's just place that right underneath here. This is going to be that pink, blue, and white flip situation. Look how intense this is. That is so beautiful. See the blue? Now this shade, and I think we'll put that in the center. Connect the two purples, and then we'll hop over into that matte. Back with the E27, and I'm going to stamp it right above this shade. And we'll grab that same matte on an E28, which is just a bigger brush. I'm speechless and can't speak, because it's so pretty to melt these together. Ooh, look at the flip on that. I love the pink and blue flip. It's so intense. And then just lightly connect them through here. Now we'll just clean up here with some micellar water. This is such a pretty shade. It's called Orchid, and to me that would be a really great way to describe the color. Put that in our waterline. And all of this purple, it's going to pull out a lot of the purpley blue underneath my eyes. Definitely going to do my corrector today. Cool Sunrise, C31. Whenever I'm using a corrector, now this one is a lot more forgiving. I could actually wear this one alone, but if your corrector is any darker than this, it really helps to only focus it where you have the blue, the purple, or really anything that you're correcting. I'm just going to melt that right there a little bit. So that is something to keep in mind with correctors. And it can also help them not mix into everything when you're keeping them really nice and focused. Let's do our Givenchy Glow Serum Foundation. Color Theory. It looks wildly yellow, right? I wear 3C all of the time, but this is such a good lesson for you. Maybe one of the reasons that you don't enjoy wearing purple eyeshadow is what can happen. Think about where yellow is on the color wheel. It's right across from purple. So these two are going to kind of be fighting against one another on my face. So I'll probably use a purpley lavender blush today too. And that should do what I needed to do in terms of connecting everything so it doesn't pull as yellow. So even green eyeshadow can do that because it's pulling the yellow out, the yellowy green. I feel like that's sometimes why I used to just stick to my classic neutrals. This scared me. Now I want to do a little bit more of a brightening effect underneath my eye, but this is going to work out really nicely because we put the color corrector behind it. So it has that balance underneath there. Anytime you do brightening, it just always needs balance underneath it. I woke up today and chose extra floofers. These are Lily Lash's self-adhesive but this is in a very 2016 style. These are a little bit harder to put on. They are, but these are ginormous. But the style is Miami. And if you have been around the beauty community for a little while, you remember how Miami and Mykonos. Whew, I was wearing those Monday through Friday. I don't care if it was 9 a.m. I was wearing Miamis or Mykonos. Mykonos were actually my faves. I'm gonna do a little bit of a bottom wing. That should be enough. If you've noticed, this has become one of my faves. E26, smudge it this way, and then just a little out this way. I wanted just a little whisper wing. Same shade that's on my brow bone. Pull that underneath here. And then our matte shade, I'm just gonna go right underneath the smudged liner. I really like these Glossier blushes. We're gonna use this one. It's called Billow C41. Oh, remember, no powder on my face whatsoever. And I'm just going to apply it like I normally would. And then I'm gonna step back and see. Remember how I mentioned color theory? And I knew that I was gonna need more of a lavender blush to kind of make everything not look as yellow. And I'm trying to decide. Nope, I'm gonna do it this way too. With whatever's left on my brush, it should be such a mild amount at this point. I'm just gonna take some, and no, I'm not gonna turn pink. I'm using that lavender to correct the yellow. So much better now. My chest is a little red. Let me correct that with some green, but this and this now looks so much better. It's a color theory day. I need to back out more, but that should be fine. Now, much better. It's little things like that. Now, everything that I've had on while I was working and finishing the eye, it could have dried down, and I don't want that yet. So I'm gonna spray a little bit of this. Just let it dry down 30 seconds. And now everything can get a nice little tap over. Because that Estee Lauder concealer, the double wear, it will completely dry down, and I was starting to have creasing, only because I hadn't set it yet. So this just kind of makes sure that everything is now perfectly melted and ready to be set. Gotta get my Givenchy pressed. And let's go ahead. I'm just gonna set the center, well, my under eye in the center of my face right now, because I really like to apply the Givenchy bronzer on top of the wet foundation. Oh, look at how nice that looks. Delightful. You'll best believe we're doing a pink highlight. Now I'm gonna use shade 2, but I'm actually just gonna grab these 2 shades. I like that we've got a little bit more red here, and red is always a good idea with purple. And I'm just sculpting a little bit more because I'm using the C40.5. So I added more blush to my cheeks, of course. I just love the way it pulls out here and here. But then I also wanted to take extra and just melt right here. Just the edges. Now I'm grabbing a powder foundation. And I like to use this to clean up my lip, because it doesn't really leave a cast and it creates a barrier if I want to wear gloss. But also I recommend don't talk and do it. Don't do that. But I chose this path, so I have to. Now I'm gonna put a little disclaimer here, because most of the time when I'm doing my looks, I'm always very mindful about what's eye safe, lip safe, just face safe. But when I do artistic looks, as long as I give a disclaimer to you, I'm gonna get a little bit more creative. So something like this, it might be lip safe, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna use it on my lips, and I'm actually just gonna use it on my bottom lip, and I'm gonna start to tap that on. And I'm using a brush because I don't want it to be just wildly intense. I want a whisper of it. Okay, I'm just gonna darken this center. That's so cool. MAC clear lip gloss on top. Oh yeah. That's the ticket. And that's really what's fun about this palette. They're just a bunch of different textures of pressed pigments, and you can use them on, oh, I gotta get closer. You can use them on your face and body. Perfect. All right, my friends, this is our finished look. So dreamy. I love how inspirational these palettes are. Now I know a lot of us aren't going to do something like this every day, but the way that I like to create these looks is almost like swatches on my eye, so you can see every single color in each section. And I just think it's really, really fun. And I also feel like it's almost like painting a picture, so it's a lot of fun for me. Let me know which look is your favorite so far, and get ready for this.